Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Conn and The Stick. And today we have another special guest with us this time. Uh, one of our good friends, one of our former roommates, knows a lot about football. He definitely wanted to come on the show. Manny Liriano. Manny, thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here, man. Very interesting.
Talk some football with us.
Yeah.
Get on the air. Today's basis of this episode, we're going to continue week 3 review. We're going to start doing a point of the week. So this week we're talking about obviously the roughing the passer calls and whether we think that this should be changed. Is there a better way we're doing this and how our reactions to it? And then we'll get into week 4 picks. So without further ado, let's get it started. And I think we should start. We got 3 teams left, undefeated. We got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Rams, and I know I'm tooting my horn a little bit here, the Miami Dolphins, 3-0 right now. Guys, how long does this last? I mean, we got a couple of tough matchups. Obviously, tonight the Rams play the Vikings, and the Dolphins head to Foxborough to play the Patriots.
I'm just going to start. Patriots have lost 2 weeks in a row now. I don't know if they're going to go for 3. I can't imagine Tom Brady losing 3 weeks in a row, especially a division game. Certainly going to be crucial. But Miami's been playing well. It's tough to knock New England at home. And just then look at the Rams. The Rams are just clicking on all cylinders. And Vikings took a big step back last week with their huge loss, but I think the Rams are just a more complete team, probably the best-looking team in the NFL right now, so you got to give them the edge. And then the Chiefs, they're just firing, and Patrick Mahomes is just on another level. So, Manny, what do you think?
I think the Rams lose tonight. That's my honest opinion. I don't think the Vikings lose 2 weeks in a row. I think they bounce back this week against the Rams. And then with Akeem Talib out and Marcus Peters, I don't know if he's playing or not. I think he's questionable. But with him being out, then Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs just take over the game.
Well, I mean, we'll get into game picks later, but I mean, I can't imagine. I think, honestly, I mean, you're right. I mean, the Dolphins really look good. I mean, obviously, the 3 games that they played were shaky teams. Obviously, you had a 7-hour game, the week 1, the longest game since the NFL-AFL merger. Chiefs are winning just because the offense is just unstoppable right now. Patrick Mahomes, 13 touchdowns in 3 weeks is Madden numbers. That's definitely something you used to put up in Madden, Manny. I know that firsthand. And then the Los Angeles Rams, definitely the most complete team in the NFL right now. Just so much talent, I think they know. But Akeem Talib hurts and Marcus Peters hurts. So 2 huge upsets. I mean, not really an upset on Thursday night, though. The Browns, after 2 seasons, get their first win. Nick, I know that one stung a little bit.
Yeah, it's because I picked the Jets to win. That's why they lost. But you know what? As me and you were watching this game Thursday night, Baker Mayfield comes in, and I'm like, we're done. It's just a classic storybook Jets ending to a game. We injure a quarterback, and then Tom Brady comes in 15 years or whatever, how long ago it was, for Drew Bledsoe. We injured Tyrod Taylor, and then Baker Mayfield just shoves the ball down our throats for a victory. But you know what? It was fun to watch. I love Baker Mayfield. I wish he was able to fall to the Jets, but the Browns, if their offense could play like they did in the second half against the Jets, they're looking
the
up.
one thing that I loved about Baker Mayfield is, you know what, you come in here and as a young quarterback, and he was just making precise throws. Like, he didn't look like he was forcing anything. He put the ball exactly where it needed to be. I mean, you don't get that a lot from young guys that just come in there and just start clicking the fire in a way the way they did.
One thing that bothered me a lot was that the Jets pass rush just kind of disappeared after Tyrod got hurt. Well, I mean, you could see Baker picking up the blitzes a little better, and I think that really frustrated the Jets. But their pass rush just straight up just disappeared.
I didn't notice that. The first quarter we were blitzing corners and linebackers left and right, and then I feel like the second half we just did 4-man rush.
It was just one of them.
Because on the play to Jarvis Landry, a corner blitzed on that, but you could see Baker call him out, and then the line slid to the right. And the corner had to go all the way around the right tackle, and then I'm pretty sure that just opened up the ball to Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I just feel like still a young guy. you still got to go after them. If it worked in the first half, I don't know. I just felt like they gave him too much time in general. Even if they do pick up a blitz, sooner or later they're going to make a play here or there. I just feel like he had all day to throw.
And then, I mean, yeah, I completely agree with the fact that the Jets pass rush just stopped. Like they just let Baker Mayfield sit in the pocket and deliver the throws he needed to make. It'll be interesting to see what he does now with that game underneath his belt. I mean, Cleveland was celebrating like they won a freaking Super Bowl, and it was
Bud Light coolers and everything.
Yeah, it's just that's what happens when you don't win a game in 2 years. So. But I think the biggest shocker was the Buffalo Bills went to Minnesota and they didn't beat the Vikings. They destroyed them. What happened?
It's just one of those things that anything can happen on any given Sunday. It just did the Vikings overlook the Bills looking towards this big game tonight? Maybe. I don't know. Just the offense did nothing the entire first half, and the defense didn't do anything really either. Josh Allen was putting up yards after yards and more touchdowns, and it was just a total debacle on the side of Minnesota. But they better get it together tonight, or they're gonna get another beat down.
They're playing a much better defense.
And offense, that's for sure.
I think not having Dalvin Cook really hurt the Vikings. I think that's why they couldn't open up the pass game that much. And then also the defense didn't really look prepared. Because even Harrison Smith, who makes a lot of big plays in a lot of games, even he looked kind of lost. And then on the goal line when Josh Allen scored his second rushing touchdown, he didn't even move on that. He just sort of just stood there. So I think they just looked past a team that they thought they could beat easily. And it really hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, you can't overlook anybody in the NFL because I mean you gotta know these are all professional teams with professional players. I mean, yes, the offense of the Bills is much less talented, especially with LaShawn McCoy injured, but they're still professional guys. I mean, and Josh Allen, he's a good quarterback. He's got to develop a little bit more. But, I mean, we saw the promise of Josh Allen and why the Bills ended up trading up for him to get a guy like that. So hopefully he can keep going. It's going to be another NFC North matchup this week against the Packers. A rookie quarterback that didn't get the result he wanted was really late in the game. With the game on the line, the Arizona Cardinals take Sam Bradford out, and they put Josh Rosen in a bad situation to play him. I mean, do you guys agree with that? I just think with 5 minutes left to go with the game on the line, you throw a rookie quarterback in there and you watch him just – I mean, I don't blame the guy for not living up and going against a Bears defense. But, I mean, that was just a bad situation to put Josh Rosen in.
Oh, it's definitely a bad situation. Maybe you want to give him experience, like when the game's at reach, but like he scores a touchdown. What they take the lead or tie? I don't remember what the score was at that point, but I remember it was a close game. But that's not an easy spot, especially against a great Bears defense with Khalil Mack coming after you. But I don't know, just that Arizona organization right now, they're a little up and around. Like I'm not sure what's going on through there, but you know what? Hopefully. I don't know what they're doing going forward. I don't know. Is Rosen starting this week coming up?
He is.
He is starting? Well,
that's the Seahawks.
You know what? At least he'll be more prepared going forward into this week. But I don't know. To throw someone into the game with 5 minutes to go, unless your starting quarterback's hurt, I don't understand that at all.
Nah, I think that was a mistake, too. The end score was like 14-16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
This is something stupid you don't do.
Yeah.
Especially a guy that's never played a snap in a regular season game. You're just going to tell your rookie quarterback, "Hey, there's 5 minutes left. Just go win us the game."
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Hopefully, he has a better result this week against a very up and down Seahawks team. A couple of them, Pittsburgh finally got their first win on a shootout. I mean, well, the Bucks came back. I wouldn't really say it was a shootout, but definitely a result of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fans, the organization definitely needed, because you take a 0-2-1 start, and it's like, where do you go from there? But I mean, it all comes down to this defense. I mean, we are seeing a Swiss cheese defense from the Steelers right now, and while they didn't have really the talent level of other defenses, it's concerning for a playoff push.
Oh no, it's definitely concerning because when you're playing against other teams such as Jacksonville that has a great defense and your offense isn't going to be putting up many points, it's going to be almost impossible to win when your defense is giving up 30 points a game. I think they've given up over 30 every single game they played in, right?
No, Browns 21.
Browns was
Browns
21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's still a
They
Brown.
let Mahomes throw 6 touchdowns.
That Browns offense, I think Tyrod Taylor had an awful game and they still put up 20-some points. So, but I don't know, just that defense isn't doing anything great, and the offense, I don't know. I'm just not huge on Big Ben. The offense, like, they scored a lot in the first half, but what happened to them in the second half against Tampa Bay? So, I don't think they scored. Yeah, I don't think they scored at all in the second half. So, they're just very inconsistent right now, and I don't know. I worry about the Steelers a little bit.
I think they really miss Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, it's.
Do they miss Le'Veon? Like, what's the difference? Like, because James Conner's been playing really well.
He got shut down against the Chiefs. So, I mean, you just don't play him the same as you would Le'Veon. Because Le'Veon got to worry about him in the pass game and running. And the way he runs really opens up things for everyone on that offense.
But my thing is this, and I don't think it's so much what James Conner is not to Le'Veon Bell. It's so much of the fact that Antonio Brown is just not getting the ball. And that's what's concerning. That's where this offense is going awry because, you see Juju Smith-Schuster, he's playing phenomenal the first 3 weeks of the season. It's Antonio Brown where this guy's not getting the ball. So I'm wondering if this dysfunction is causing a relationship is going away from Big Ben. It's causing distress in the relationship between Big Ben and Antonio Brown, but I don't know what's going on. But if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be the team that I thought they were going to be in the preseason, a team that I think can make a Super Bowl push, they've got to get it together because right now it looks really bad.
Well, I still think it comes down to Le'Veon Bell because you put so much focus on Antonio Brown now because you don't really have to worry about anyone. Yeah, you just miss putting up big numbers, but you don't got to worry about him having 10, 15 catches in a game with like 4 or 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. A couple other big name teams went down. Definitely guys, teams that we think are, or at least I think that are going to be playoff teams. The Packers couldn't seal a road win against the Redskins. The Jaguars drop a 9-6 game. Nobody could get anything going on offense. A 9-6 game there in Jacksonville, loses one at home. Surprising after they stomped a mud hole into the Patriots the week before. And then speaking of the Patriots, can't win a road game against a Matt Stafford-led Lions that got destroyed by the Jets on a Monday night to open up the season and just couldn't finish one in the road. So, I mean, do we see like almost yes, the NFL is tough to predict sometimes, but it shows that some of the best teams are still vulnerable.
Yeah, I do. I think that there's kind of like a power shift almost in the NFL right now. I just think a lot of the teams that we were used to being really good at the top, and just Tom Brady's getting older. Like, how long can we expect him to be playing at Tom Brady level? Like, dude's been phenomenal for all these years, but sometimes life just catches up to you.
It's funny that you say that because me and Manny were talking in the parking lot literally today, and Manny says, and I quote, Tom Brady always plays well when people say he doesn't have it anymore. Am I right?
Yeah.
Did you say you said that to me today?
Yeah. Every time the Patriots start off, is like, or like people are worried, like, is this the same team as they were before? Is Tom Brady about to fall off the cliff? They just go on like 12, 13 game win streak into the playoffs. So
he's like what now, 45? Got to be up there.
Yeah, he's up there. But I don't think he's gonna slow down anytime soon. I think the Patriots pick it back up this week against the Dolphins, and I think they get right back on track. Honestly.
Oh, for their sake, I hope so.
And the Jaguars?
The Jaguars is very inconsistent.
Right. And I mean, the Jaguars' offense, especially, you don't have Leonard Fournette. Well, did he? He didn't play, did he?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, you don't have Leonard Fournette. You don't have your number one receiver in Marquise Lee. You lose Allen Robinson. We knew that there was going to be some struggles on this, but that's a team that it's only really relying on Blake Bortles and the fact that guy can go out there and make plays. But the thing about Blake Bortles, and one of the things I noticed, is that guy plays big in big games, doesn't play big in games, that they think it's a shoe-in to win. So the inconsistency with the Jaguars offense is one of the things they got to fix if they're going to be this new team in the AFC that's going to be the powerhouse.
That's why I'm definitely still not sold on Blake Bortles. Because after that past game, everybody was saying that he's arrived, that he's here now. But I
obviously we saw that the game that hurt him.
Yeah.
And we're definitely looking. I mean, he's got a matchup with the Jets.
Yeah, we're gonna get rocked probably. The way our offense looks, we could barely score against Cleveland, and if we can barely score against Cleveland, it's not going to be pretty against Jacksonville. So
another 9-6.
Probably
a team we thought would be. I mean, and we were going back to seeing some teams aren't dominating the way that they should. Panthers in a tight game against the Bengals. The Eagles almost losing a game.
The Eagles,
to the Colts.
I was watching something again. The Eagles actually probably should have lost that game. They just got a few good breaks at the end, made a few extra plays in the Colts, but Andrew Luck had that game and they couldn't pull it off.
Eagles defense definitely showing that the front seven is good, but the secondary is still struggling.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz's return, he came off of a quick touchdown, but after that, they didn't really do all too much. He looked like a guy that, maybe a little scared coming back from injury. But hopefully, a few weeks more under his belt.
He definitely looked scared to get hit.
Yeah, there was a few times him
Carson Wentz
rolling out. But.
Yeah, well, no surprise. You bench Eric Flowers, you see better results. The Giants getting a win on the road against the Texans, and I don't want to say that I said so, but I knew that the Texans were all hype going into the season. I don't see another. The defense is getting up there in age. You don't know how Deshaun Watson's going to be able to react since coming back from that ACL injury. I mean, he looks okay. He looks stable, but I mean, he doesn't look like the Deshaun Watson that we saw the first 4 or 5 games before he got hurt last year. So, I wasn't buying it then. I'm still not buying it now. So, and then, like I said, the Panthers in a close game. Ravens were going to win one at home. I said I was like, I wonder why the Ravens just beat down on the Broncos. I thought the Broncos looked like they looked pretty good. They didn't look like a team that I knew the Ravens were going to win at home. But Ray Lewis came out there for his Ring of Honor. They're obviously not going to lose. Ray Lewis is in the building. They don't lose.
I'm just glad Joe Flacco is finally doing something. Because he disappeared for 6-7 years after that Super Bowl.
No, he looked shaky on Thursday night last week, so I don't know.
It's just a thing.
Thursday night last week. Did I say something different?
Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
Thursday night last week?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I
2
guess.
weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago.
I think it's just a thing with this league right now. Quarterback play is just very inconsistent all around.
Yeah.
Besides Mahomes and Breeze.
I don't know. Ryan Tannehill looks pretty consistent through a couple games.
Tom Brady looks a little consistent.
I mean, yes, he threw 2 picks against the Titans, but you really don't know what it was his first game coming back, and he had to play a 7-hour game.
Yeah,
but against the Jets and against the Raiders, it's playing pretty consistent ball.
I was just say, if you look around, the consensus for most quarterbacks is they're good.
Obviously, you're going to talk about Mahomes being consistent, and you're going to talk about Breeze. I'm just saying that I want Ryan Tannehill for his first 3 games to get his due. Here.
I'll give it to him. He's 3-0.
So that's pretty much the basis of what we saw from week 3. Yeah, the Seahawks get a win, but I didn't know a statistic was Pete Carroll, since being the coach of the Seahawks, has never lost a September game at home.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There's a stat for everything.
Yeah.
So let's go into our point of emphasis this week, and let's talk about the biggest concern right now at the NFL is these roughing the passer calls. And they're coming so often. I think going into week 3, there was 21 roughing the passer calls. 31? 31. We've never
Even
seen
worse.
this. And I understand to a point that you need to protect the quarterback to a certain degree. I think that really they're trying to protect the quarterback from getting injured because a starting quarterback gets hurt, your whole season's ruined. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, the Packers go from a playoff team to a team that can't win. Jimmy Garoppolo, we forgot to talk about that, out for the season. I mean, that hurts the 49ers. I mean, we don't know how good that was a team that a lot of people thought that they would make the playoffs. But Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, your season's almost done. Who goes in? C.J. Beathard now, a guy that was a quarterback for a majority of last year, and they went 5-11 until Jimmy Garoppolo came. They didn't win. They won one game with C.J. Beathard last year, and so here we are. But I mean, it's getting ridiculous at this point because Clay Matthews. I mean, it goes back to what I heard, and it's a good point that I heard on NFL radio. It's going to be ruined because of the fact that, it's so hard for teams to make great plays on defense sometimes. And you get a guy that makes the game is on the line. A guy goes in and makes a great sack to make such a huge play and get a 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer from just sacking the quarterback. It's a game changer.
Oh, no, definitely. Instead of it being 3rd and long, 2nd and 16, 15 yards for an line.
And an automatic first down.
Probably in field goal range now. Like, it's insane. I understand, the roughing the passer. You don't want your quarterbacks getting hit at the knee, below the knee, linemen diving. You don't want them helmet-to-helmet contact or any, forearms to head. I totally understand that. But, when you're sacking the quarterback and you're just landing on them with your body weight, that's insane. Because, if you're tackling someone straight on, where else are you going? You're going to land on him. What are you supposed to, lay him down to the ground?
Let's go away from football here and talk about physics. I mean, you can't stop yourself running full speed when you're going down to the ground. Yeah. I mean, a guy, and I know it hurts me personally because it's one of the Dolphins guys. Willie Hayes tears his ACL trying to keep his weight off their car so his team doesn't suffer. I mean, that's ridiculous. Manny?
You could do everything perfect and still because they have the strike zone, which is below the neck, above the hip.
Yeah.
Clay Matthews it was a beautiful hit.
Hit him in the waist.
Yeah, it was helmet to shoulder, and he just brought him down. They threw the flag, and I was just lost.
You put that on clinic tape on how to tackle.
Exactly. He's like, make sure not to put your body weight on him.
Because I was taught in football when I was in. There's a stick between the side of your helmet and your shoulder pad. And Clay Matthews wrapped him up, and they always tell you, break the stick. That's what my coaches used to say. He did that. Broke the stick, form tackle, flagged. Just ridiculous. I mean, it's getting to a point, and this is the solution that I actually had. You flag the roughing the passer, you throw a flag on that, and you say roughing the passer, but you review it. Because I feel like that just... You're taking a better look at it because there were a couple times where I felt like the quarterback got hit, but if you look at it closely, I mean, it's not even close. You're looking for certain things, and I think you go back to what they're doing with being ejecting people. You have New York take a look at it and say, let it go.
I say the rule changes by the beginning of next season. I say they get rid of the body weight because that's the biggest issue right now. This whole thing.
I agree. I think the body weight thing is the biggest thing because the hits to the head, it shouldn't happen. The hits below the knees, they're dangerous. But you physically can't. If you're running straight at someone, where else do you expect to land? And that's why, if you look all over social media, people are just making fun of the NFL left and right, making videos of I'm tackling the quarterback, let me put a pillow under his head. It's insane just the way that it is right now.
Something's got to change because, every year I feel like we're not seeing the same football that we grew up with. Yeah, we can't have, and concussions and CTE is a huge thing in football. We can't have Ray Lewis, guys like Ray Lewis used to come over the middle and just light you up.
Or Patrick Willis knock someone out cold on your knees.
Yeah, what was it? Ray Lewis hit Muhammad Massaquoi, didn't he, or something like that? The guy from the Steelers, no, James Harrison hit Muhammad Massaquoi, and the good dude literally bent in half. You can't have stuff like that. I get it, but I mean, you're also you don't want to lose the game of football because Mike Mitchell said it. He goes, don't want us to hit, then let us take the pads off and just play flag football, so I don't have to wear heavy stuff. But if we're gonna have the pads on, you got to let me hit.
It's just awful. There's just so many flags, and it makes the game so much longer, and it just deters the fans because, like, I'm not even a fan of these teams, and it's pissing me off. As a former football player, I'm like, how are you supposedly supposed to bring this guy down? It just makes no sense to me. And honestly, I agree with Manny that something's gonna change. You know what? At first, we didn't know what a catch was. Now we don't even know what a tackle is anymore. It's just too much right now.
So I mean, that's our little rant on roughing the passer and how we feel of it so far. So with that, let's go into Week 4 predictions. We got a good one tonight. I mean, this was a game that I circled while we were doing our division breakups. Minnesota Vikings, Los Angeles Rams, two teams that I think have a very realistic shot in the NFC to go all the way to the Super Bowl. Who do you got tonight? We'll start with you, Nick.
I like both teams a lot. I think Minnesota is going to bounce back. They're definitely going to give up a better showing than they did against the Bills. But I think the Rams just, from top to bottom, are just the best team in the league right now. Like, they do have their injuries at corner, but that offensive Gurley and Cooks and Goff's been looking good, and just they're clicking everywhere. And that D-line's phenomenal. It's just, I don't know, I just find it hard to choose against them right now, so I'm going to go with the Rams.
I'm going to go with the Vikings. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I just got to go with the Vikings because I think there's plenty of ways that they can stop Sue and Donald. Like, he can pinch the offensive line to squeeze together. Makes it harder to create space to break through to get to the quarterback. You could have the running back come in and chip from DN if he gets by. So there's so many things you could do on offense to stop them. But the defense, I think, is like the biggest question right now. The biggest matchup tonight is Brandon Cooks versus Xavier Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think the Vikings have the linebackers to stop Gurley. You're not gonna stop him completely, but you can hold him to not having such a big game. And then Harrison Smith probably is gonna be out there too. And I just think the defense is gonna be too much for the Rams. I still think it's gonna be a close game. So
yeah, definitely.
This is definitely an injury-plagued game. I mean, I can think of three guys I saw that I was like, wow, they're not playing, and it's Marcus Peters, obviously, and Aqib Talib for the Rams. It's Everson Griffin not playing for the Vikings. I mean, it's a huge blow. And, I mean, with all these guys, I mean, this is a game we wish we could see everyone healthy. Because it's just going at it. But the Rams' offenses look like they're just so in sync right now. They can go so many ways with the ball, hurt you. I mean, I even see Gurley's backup come in last week, and he's still running for 7 yards a carry. It's crazy how good the Rams' offense and what Sean McVay's been able to do there. But I am going to go with the Vikings with this one. I just think that they're going to bounce back. They know exactly what they did wrong. A short week, and I mean, you got two corners. Again, you got corners that aren't usually playing against Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. I mean, that's a matchup nightmare if you're telling me.
A defensive-minded head coach is always at least in my opinion, is going to outsmart a offensive-minded head coach.
The next game we got, let's Texans and Colts. Manny?
Did I have to make a prediction on this?
You do.
I think the Texans, man. I think the Colts are struggling a lot right now, especially on offense. They're still trying to find themselves with Andrew Luck back there now, but he hasn't played in 2 years almost.
Yeah, before that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the Texans come and they get a win in Indianapolis. So.
Yeah, this is tough because the Colts actually, I think they played They were close with the Eagles last week, but I just don't think the Texans are going to go 0-4. I think they'll find a way to pull it off. DeAndre Hopkins will probably have a big game as he always does, but yeah, I'll give this one to the Texans over the Colts.
Already, the Colts have exceeded my expectations. I mean, they've been playing close games against the Eagles. Who did they play
The
in
Redskins, I
week 2?
think they played.
No, the Bengals.
The Bengals.
They beat the Redskins
Yeah.
last week. I mean, they've already exceeded my expectations. I mean, I look at this team and I said this is going to be one of the worst teams in football because I just don't know how Andrew Luck is going to respond yet. The defense has got so many holes to it. They just didn't fix it. They fixed the offensive line, but they didn't really find a lot of defense, except for that guy was Darius Leonard, I think, is the rookie that they've been so high on so far. But, I mean, I'm going to give this one to the Texans. I think that with Sean Watson and how electric this offense, they need to find their spark. And I think this is the game against a very below-average Colts team. This is where they find that spark.
And we saw the return of J.J. Watt last week against the Giants. 2 sacks.
Yeah. Against a much, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a much worse. I would say the offensive line's about the same with pressure. They should be able to generate pressure. I mean, you really only have to cover T.Y.
Yeah.
because that's all Andrew Luck throws the ball to. So I'm going to go with the Texans on the road. They're due for a win. Bills and the Packers. I'll start this one off. Just, I mean, who would have thought the Bills were going to come out there last week and light up the Vikings? And I know Josh Allen played a great game, but let's be realistic here. I mean, I think after last week, the Packers are going to be scratching and clawing for a win, especially tying in week 2 with the Vikings and losing last week. I think the Packers are going to be really prepared for this one. I don't think they're going to take the Bills lightly. I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Bills, they had a good week last week, but they're just not a good team in my eyes. And Aaron Rodgers, he's going to find a way. He knows he needs to get wins to stick around with the Vikings, and now with the Bears, the way they've been playing in that division. So I think Green Bay will find a way to pull this one off.
I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it might come down to the fourth quarter. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I think the Packers are going to pull it out just because of Aaron Rodgers, really. But I think if the defense of the Bills comes to play and they can get a pass rush on Aaron Rodgers, they can keep it close and maybe pull out a win. But I'll take the Packers.
A really underrated matchup at the beginning of the season, but now looks like a really good game. Buccaneers traveling to Chi-Town, the Windy City, to take on the Bears. We'll start with you, Manny.
I'm gonna take the Bears. I think
I know who you're gonna take, but the audience doesn't know who you're gonna take.
I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be able to handle the Bears' pass rush that much with Akeem Hicks, Holden Mack, Leonard Floyd. And then they definitely struggle running the ball, and with Roquan Smith out there and Danny Trevathan. And just the secondary is a lot better than I think most of the secondaries the Buccaneers have played. So I think the Bears are going to pull it out.
I love Fitzmagic, but I don't think he's going to pull it off this week. He had a great comeback last week, trying to come back against the Steelers. But I don't know. I think the Bears are just clicking right now, especially that defensive side has been phenomenal. And like Manny said, I don't think the Bucs have really faced a defense like this yet. I think it's going to be a little bit of a wake-up call. And I think the Bears are going to pull this one off and go 3-1.
I mean, it's all about getting pressure on the quarterback, and Fitzpatrick is going to be he's going to be feeling the pressure. I mean, yes, we talk about Khalil Mack, but look what else he's got around him. Leonard Floyd, Eddie Goldman, Pernell McPhee, all guys that are just – I mean, I thought this was a pretty good defense without Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Now it's even better. I mean, yes, the secondary is still a little bit shaky. And I think we've seen that so far a little bit. I mean, there's only so much your front seven can do. But at the same time, it's going to be huge in this game, and I think the Chicago Bears are going to be applying that pressure, and especially you're coming home into Chicago and riding all this momentum. Your fans are looking at, hey, This might be a playoff run this year. So I am going to go with the Bears as well. We get to the Dolphins and the Patriots. I love what the Dolphins have done so far. I really, honestly, I mean, I think I had them winning one out of their first 4 games to start the season. I might have had them beating the Raiders. I definitely had them losing the Titans and the Jets at the beginning of the season. And I love what they're doing so far. I mean, yes, it hasn't been perfect. The start of the Raiders game was terrible. Jordy Nelson just roasted them both times, and I think that was just a miscommunication on where Micah Fitzpatrick, still a rookie, still trying to learn the system, trying to learn the NFL. Well, that's a guy that'll pick it up. But the Dolphins have always been a team I felt that has always been a second half team. They ended up coming back and they beat the Raiders. But the thing that just impresses me the most so far about the Dolphins, and I think I said it this week, is Ryan Tannehill and how they've been able to get the ball into so many guys' hands. I mean, they got Albert Wilson. They've been using him with that. I mean, Albert Wilson threw a touchdown pass last week. They've been handing the ball off to him. He's been a huge playmaker. But at the end of the day, this whole undefeated streak going to start the season off ends because, 1, they never play good in Foxborough, and 2, the Patriots are not going to drop 3 games in a row. It's just not happening. I'm going with the Patriots.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head at the end. Just the Patriots aren't going to lose 3 games in a row, and they're not going to be 3 games back in the division because right now they're 1-2. If they drop to 1-3, Miami's 4-0. That's a big climb to come back. Even early on in the season, it's still going to be tough. But I think at home with the Patriots and Tom Brady, they'll find a way to pull this one off.
I'm gonna surprise you with it. I'm gonna take the Dolphins.
Woo!
I think the Dolphins go 4-0. After watching the Patriots against the Lions, their offense just looks horrible. They have no run game like at all. Sony Michel was struggling all game against the Lions, and then I just don't think that Tom Brady really has anyone he can get the ball to. So this game probably come down really to Josh Gordon, how he'll play if he plays, because the way they were covering the Lions were covering Gronk almost looked like the way people used to cover Calvin Johnson, where they had 2 guys right in front of him, right off the ball. So I think if the Lions can figure out how to play Gronk and keep Brady away from his other receivers, I think the Dolphins can really pull this out.
Well, luckily for New England, just going forward, it doesn't affect this week, but the week after to get Julian Edelman back from suspension.
I was just going to say that. My concern with the Dolphins right now is obviously the pass rush. They lost Andre Branch. They lost Willie Hayes. So that 5 DN rotation that I felt like has been working so well for them so far now goes down to 3. And that's my huge concern.
Yeah, but if the Dolphins can make Tom Brady hold the ball for about 3 seconds, maybe 2.5 at the most, I think they can get there.
I mean, they do have Cameron Wake. They do have Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn has looked great so far. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it would be. I think that this might be the last week if it happens that the Patriots struggle because Julian Edelman's return opens up a lot of possibility for them, in my opinion. Lions and the Cowboys. Nick, why don't you start this one off?
I'm going to go with the Lions just because Dak Prescott hasn't thrown for 200 yards in seems like a year and a half. They have no passing game. They got no receivers. Dak hasn't looked good. Again, they got Zeke, who's still playing pretty well, but I think the Lions' offense just has a lot more going for them. They got more weapons. Stafford's looked better since week 1. I'm going to give that to the Lions on this one.
I want to go with the Lions on this one. I do, but I feel like the Cowboys are a team that there's the Giants are the only really ones that they don't play good at home, even though they did. Usually the Giants always go in there and win. But, I mean, I think the Cowboys are a tough team to beat at home. The Lions' defense has shown a lot of vulnerability in both the pass and the run game. I'm going to go with Zeke having a big game at home against the Lions. I'm going to go with Dallas.
I'm going to go with the Lions. I think that they might struggle a little bit against that Cowboys defense and the Cowboys pass rush. Even the Cowboys secondary looks good this year. But the Cowboys offense just looks bland. It looks like they run the same play. It looks like they've run the same plays every game this season. And I feel like Matt Patricia and the defense is really going to come together because they've gotten a lot better since they played the Jets. So I think they'll hold the Cowboys and The Lions would move fast.
My biggest surprise from this season is that no one has picked up Des Bryant yet. It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if teams just want to deal with him or what, but there's certainly teams out there that can use a wide receiver. So
hey, he didn't want to go to the Browns, man.
I don't know. He didn't want to go to the Ravens either. The Ravens were going to offer him a contract too.
I guess when you're picky, you don't take a job, but it is what it is.
All right, Bengals and the Falcons. This has the potential to be a good game. I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I think that definitely bitter about that overtime loss last week against the Saints. They're going to be coming in really fired up. Calvin Ridley, 3 touchdowns. You're going to be playing him a little bit. I mean, you're the Bengals secondary. It's like, oh boy, we can't let Calvin Ridley go, huh? And they still have Julio Jones. Tevin Coleman. I rave about Tevin Coleman. I think he's a starting running back on a lot of other teams. I'm not sure about Devontae Freeman, whether he's coming back, but Matt Ryan looks, after a slow week 1, he's bounced back, and he looks like the old Matt Ryan, especially last week. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Yeah, Cincinnati, they've been all right the last few weeks. The injury to A.J. Green certainly hurt them last week, but they did say he was cleared. He should play this week, but still, though, he's still going to be nagging a bit, which is a little bit of concern. And, yeah, just the Falcons' offense has looked much better with Ridley's 3 touchdowns last week. Hopefully that can open up things for Julio Jones, maybe take a little less attention off of him. It just opens up the offense a lot more. I think the Falcons are just a better, well-rounded team than Cincinnati. They've just got more weapons, and they have a better quarterback, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I'm going to take the Bengals. I think Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, and Joe Mixon light up their defense.
Mixon's not playing.
He's not?
No.
Oh, his knee?
Yeah.
So, what, Bernard's playing?
Yep.
It's still dangerous. At least to me, he is. And I think
he had a good game last week.
I think Cincinnati's pressure on Matt Ryan's really going to get to him. Like, you saw how he struggled against the Eagles, and I don't want to say they were barely getting to him, but they were all around him. And I think the Bengals have a bit of a better pass rush than the Eagles, so I think they're going to bother Matt Ryan a lot. And I think the Bengals are going to win.
Sam Hubbard's another defensive guy that's really stepped up this year. Might be in the running because he had a monstrous Week 2 game against the Ravens. Next game we're looking at, Jets-Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars. I'm going to go with 27-3.
Oh, boy. He's already predicting a score, too. He's expecting a blowout here. Manny?
Jaguars, man. I'm sorry, Nick.
After what I saw last week, as long as if Blake Bortles plays somewhat good, we don't stand a chance, in my opinion.
Morale's not high on the Jets since, you lose a game that you thought you were going to win in New York against the Dolphins, and then a crushing blow against the team that hasn't won since 2000. It didn't win since 2016. But I mean, now you're playing the best defense in football. It's going to be a rough one for the Jets. I'm also going to go with the Jaguars. Eagles are traveling on the road to Tennessee to play the Titans.
This could definitely be a close game. The Eagles did not look that good at all last week, especially against the Colts, who, like we said, probably one of the lower teams in the league. But still, the Eagles, they got a lot of playmakers. Carson Wentz has another week under his belt back from injury, so hopefully he got that rust off. The Eagles are still a really good team, Super Bowl champs from last year, so I'm going to go with the Eagles in this one.
I'm going to take the Titans. I think they have a much better defense than the Colts do, and it depends on how Mariota plays. But I think the Titans could definitely take this one against the Eagles.
I'm also going to take the Titans because the thing is that they've played every team they've played so far this year. They've played them tough. I think they played a much better defense last week and still found a way to win on the road. Nonetheless,
with a hurt Mariota too.
With a hurt Mariota, they've got 2 guys in the backfield that can make plays. Derrick Henry, Deion Lewis, a good 1-2 punch. It's just a matter of whether you can get Corey Davis engaged this week. They tried to go to him a lot last week, and it just didn't work. Playing a Jaguars secondary, obviously led by Jalen Ramsey. It's tough to try and throw on that team because their secondary is elite. They play a much sloppier secondary this week. I think Mariota and the Titans finally put up more points. They're not going to put up 9 points this week like they did last week. I'm going to actually go with the Titans here. In a shocker. The Browns traveling on the road to play the 0-3 John Gruden Raiders. I'm going to start this one off. I loved what I saw from the Browns last week. You bring in the rookie quarterback. You go and you get him the ball. He goes out there and gets you a win. And the crowd is hyped. And they are building off so much momentum. But they're traveling to the black hole. They're traveling to play the Raiders, who have just – at some point, the Raiders have just got to say, we're 0-3 right now. John Gruden has got to be steam's got to be coming out of his ears right now that he would start 0-3, especially when, you had such a great first half against the Rams, and then they blow you out in the second half. You had the Broncos right there. There was no reason they should have lost that game. You let the Broncos come back and they win, kick a game-winning field goal. You dice the Dolphins up in the first 2 drives, and you miss out on points, and you don't win. You can't. They're right there. And with the way that Derek Carr's been playing, I think Derek Carr's been playing really well
really good,
so far. I'm giving this one to the Raiders. I think they go home, they get it together, and they come away with John Gruden's first win with the Raiders since, I think, 2001.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know. This game's tough because that Raiders defense does not look good at all.
No.
It's having trouble, and I think Baker's going to have time to throw, and he's going to make a lot of plays. And if the Raiders are going to want to win this one, they're going to have to put up points on the board. So, I don't know. This one's actually really close. This is going to be a tough matchup. I just find it tough, this Raiders going 0-4. I want to choose Cleveland, but then I'm like, the Raiders are too good of a team offensively to go 0-4. So I'm going to give it to Derek Carr and the Raiders. Pick up their first victory of the season.
I say the Browns blow them out.
Blow them out.
Yeah. The bold prediction of the week right there.
He's going for a blowout.
The Browns blow the Raiders
Why?
out. I think the Browns defense is very, very underrated. Very underrated. They're a lot better than the Dolphins defense.
Are you sure about that?
I will say
it's a defense, right?
Browns
And I agree with the fact that I think that there's still there's more overall talent on the Browns defense than there is on the Dolphins defense.
I think Baker Mayfield turns the ball over a couple times, 2 or 3 times, maybe a pick, a couple fumbles, but I think they'll beat them maybe 28 to 7, 28.
You turn the ball over and you still win by 21 points.
Yeah, because
I think
the Browns defense gets a lot of turnovers too. Because their Carr's been playing well, but I feel like they're gonna cover the field really well against him. They're gonna have Myles Garrett generating pass rush.
I just feel like the Raiders' passing game has been too good to only put up 7 points. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game between the two teams. I think both quarterbacks will play well. I just don't see Oakland going 0-4, so that's what I'm going off of.
Seahawks and the Cardinals. Now, this is an interesting matchup to me because, the Seahawks get a big win, the much-needed win last week, and the Cardinals have just been struggling offensively. Defensively, just hasn't felt the same in 2 years. But Josh Rosen's under center now, and I think that he's in a much better situation. I think he's got definitely guys he can go the ball. Manny's game plan with the Cardinals is give David Johnson the ball. They're going to give it to him, and they're going to give it to him a lot more because now it's not a veteran quarterback. It's a rookie who you're going to hand the ball off a little bit more than you usually do. I don't like the Seahawks on the road almost ever. I just think they're a really poor road team. I'm going to give this one to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'll say, you nailed it on the head when you said with David Johnson. I feel like he should have been getting the ball more often anyway. They've been underutilizing him, I feel. He's a top back in this league. Yeah, he's coming off injury, but the dude could play. You got to get him involved more in the passing game, I feel. And with the rookie QB in there, I feel like he's going to get his opportunity. And I do think the Cardinals should win. I think they will win this game, even with Rose at quarterback. Um, I just never liked what I ever really saw from Sam Bradford. So I think this new little energy they got going with Rosen in there could help the team out. And you know what? The Seahawks, they got Russell Wilson, but that's really it. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. They definitely used David Johnson a lot more against the Bears. He even caught a touchdown.
Yeah, finally.
So yeah, so I think the Cardinals come out. I think they run heavy against a weak Seattle defensive line, which is nowhere near where it was like even last year. So I think the Seahawks struggle on defense and they struggle on offense.
Um, Saints Giants. Nick, why don't you start this one off?
Drew Brees right now is probably second in the running for MVP behind Patrick Mahomes, and he's just been phenomenal. And I don't see the Giants stopping him. Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and just that offense is just clicking on all cylinders. Thomas has the record for like most catches in 3 games, and the crazy thing is, I think Kamara only has like 5 less catches than him right now in the season as a running back.
Well, you know where the Saints are going with the ball.
Yeah, they own the 2 guys, and you know what? For defenses trying to stop them, bless them, because you know what? No one can stop that offense right now. Saints are just too good of a team. I think the Saints should beat the Giants pretty easily.
I don't think it'll be easily. I'll definitely take the Saints. You know, with Drew Brees as Jesus under center, you can never go wrong. So, but the Giants' offense, I think their offensive line is still shaky, even though they benched Eric Flowers. I think it's mostly going to come down to Saquon and Odell if they can get them involved in the game at all. If he like plays a little better and isn't so scared to get sacked, then maybe they could pull it out. But I think the Saints right now are just a surefire to win the game.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think that the Saints are the better team. Last time these two teams played, it was a shootout. I'm pretty sure Brees had 6 touchdowns. Eli threw 5. It was just a crazy game to watch. Odell had 3 touchdowns that game. It was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I just remember watching this and I was just like, wow, these two teams are just slugging it out.
There was even a kick return for a touchdown that game.
Yeah, I think the Giants had it. Was the Giants? Yeah,
Jenkins.
It was just crazy to watch, and so I mean, I think we have another shootout in our hands. I do, because of the way the Saints defense has been playing right now. I mean, yeah, you lose Evan Ingram on offense, but I mean, there's still other ways to go to the ball. Saquon Barkley's a runner and a pass catcher. Odell is,
Sterling Shepard stepped up.
Sterling Shepard had a big week last week. I think this is a shootout, but I'm still giving this one to the Saints. I just think that they're going to outscore the Giants. It's just the Saints are a much better team.
Yeah, Drew Brees is just playing on another level right now.
49ers and Chargers is next, and I mean, I would make the case for the 49ers if Jimmy Garoppolo was still in there, but you're on the road in Los Angeles. I mean, you're not going that far, but without Jimmy Garoppolo, I think your team's doomed. I think I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, it's a huge loss. For any team, having your starting quarterback out for the season's tough, and the Chargers are a good team. Yeah, the Chargers should win this one. It's a tough break for the Niners, but you know what? That's just the way things go in the NFL.
It's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the Chargers take it easily. I don't think it's going to be a shootout or anything.
No. Ravens Steelers. Now, this one's interesting, and this is the Sunday night game. Steelers coming off a Monday night primetime win against the Bucs, but still struggled. The Ravens are coming off a win against the Broncos, but they're on the road this week. And I think the Ravens, I mean, besides a Bills win, the Ravens still have some inconsistency on offense. I mean, the run game has only been there. Is still. I'm not big on Alex Collins. I don't think he's really doing that good. But I'm going to give this one to the Steelers at home. I just in a tough game, I usually always give it to the home team, and Steelers will find a way.
Yeah, big rivalry game. These two teams, they always go at each other. But I feel like this is definitely a bigger game for the Steelers, just for the way they've been playing the last few weeks. They haven't really had that great breakout game. Hopefully for them, this could maybe be it. And I just feel like this is just one of those games maybe where Joe Flacco just underperforms and he doesn't show up. Just that inconsistency level, it's just tough to really guess on what you're going to get from him. The Steelers' offense, win or lose, they're always going to put up a decent amount of points. But like you said, being at home, it just gives you that little extra help that you need. And I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I'm gonna take the Ravens. I think Big Ben is gonna struggle in this game, and I don't think the Steelers defense is all that good.
Oh, no, they're horrible.
Yeah,
They're not good at all.
So I think I'll take the Steelers. Let's see, the Ravens, and I think the Steelers are gonna struggle on both sides of the ball, especially on offense. That's my prediction.
And then last but certainly not least, Patrick Mahomes travels to Mile High, take on the Broncos. I feel like this is a good test for Mahomes because you're playing a great front seven in the Broncos. They're going to be bringing the pressure. They're going to be trying to make this guy. I mean, this isn't really the guy right now. You want him to pressure him to make throws because the guy's going to throw the ball, and there's so many ways he can go with it right now. I'm pretty sure he's on track for like a record of most touchdown thrown to
different
receivers.
Yeah,
I mean, he obviously threw to Tyreek Hill week 1. But he's just been spreading the ball around. I mean, he's just slinging it all over the field. And I think it's going to be a closer game than maybe people are going to expect. But, I mean, it's so hard to not take the Chiefs in this one. And considering Case Keenum's been shaky a little bit. I mean, he's made some good plays. He's made some bad plays. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, just right now the quarterback play is the huge factor in this game. Mahomes has just been phenomenal. That offense is just putting up 30-point game after 30-point game. They've been awesome, and just it's tough to compete with that. Like Keenum, he shows his good signs, but he's erratic with the ball from time to time with turnovers. And when you're playing a high-powered offense like the Chiefs, you can't be turning the ball over. So I'm gonna give this one to the Chiefs on the road.
I'm gonna give it to the Chiefs. I don't think Mahomes is gonna struggle that much against the front seven because he saw them last year when he was a rookie. His first game, he played pretty well against them, so I don't think he struggles that much. I think the Broncos definitely run the best defensive stunts in the league. I mean, the way they blitz and pass rush the quarterback is definitely better than anyone else right now. But I think the Chiefs take it.
So besides Manny, who has the Dolphins beating the Patriots, I think we have only one team. You picked the Rams?
I choose the Rams, yeah.
Well, we all have. I got one team surviving week 1. I mean, this week with only one team escaping with an undefeated record, and that's the Chiefs. You've got two. You've got two.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely be interesting and another week to look forward to watching football on tonight and on Sunday. And as the game's currently on right now, and Marcus Peters is playing, so that threw me completely off. That's why I'm stuttering, but that'll do it for us. Manny, we want to thank you for coming on. You're always welcome. Well, maybe we'll get Scott in here next week. We get a whole 4-person panel of expertise. So thank you for joining us. That'll do it for us at Conn and The Stick. From Nick Smith, myself, I'm Justin Connolly. We will see you again next time.